Good evening. Got a ride into work today, so I don't usually have chats with. I also don't usually have my trunk left open. Enjoy this. Okay. We off to an exciting start yet? So everyone else had a long day, and I'm heading to church, and now I can talk a little bit. So I feel kind of bad because I woke up this morning with one of those lightning bolt ideas that I can't charge the same thing for the circuit board if it's American made. It's a net negative. It's a net loss at the same price. I mean, there's profit, yes, but there's actually not enough profit to put back in the business. It dwindles. So I actually, if I got the money for a full run and did a full run and sold all of them at the same price, I wouldn't have money for a second run. I don't know what I was thinking. So blah. So buttons. So like I said, I feel and I'm committed on this. I've thought about it all different ways. I've tried to make excuses. I've called myself out for making excuses. I've excused excuses, and then I've come up with excuses. Excuses? I can't do it. I can't do it. I have to manufacture them in America. And I have to charge what I have to charge. So the preliminary number, based on the few estimates, I still have a few quotes that I'm waiting to hear back on, but the latest estimates are going to be around $100. And that's probably, I mean, technically it's probably the correct price. I just don't like charging it. So I will make I think I'm actually going to take a cut in profit on each board. But that's where it needs to be. Otherwise, I just won't do it anymore. Because if I make it like a break even, I've had this conversation. I mean, I took a month off because it took so much time away. I know that if it's not worth the time, then I'm not going to do it. And that's not fair to the people who actually do need the board. I love getting the emails. the customer feedback. I see the emails and I'm like, all right, here we go. Okay, all right. Whew. Especially on like the Signum 3.1s, because those were I mean, I knew what I was doing. There are a few dimensions that are a little off, and like, you know, my documentation's not that great, but like when I see the customer feedback come in via email, I'm just like, all right, here we go, and I open it up and it's always glowing, and I'm just like it really makes me happy that I'm making people happy. I mean, yeah, you know what? Yeah, happy. I'm happy people are happy. I'm happy people are happy with the product. I'm happy I'm helping people. And if I, you know, if I made 20 bucks per board selling it, or 10 bucks per board, I just don't have the time for that to be worth it. So I'm hoping to find better quotes. So if you want a $65 or $75 Signum, buy one quick. This is going to be the last run for a bit. And I've got the new version. Like I said, the new version doesn't have much more in it, but it's definitely more polished. Right, drink. So yeah, I've been trying to figure out I'm still kind of hoping I'll find some quote or I'll get a response back that has a better price on it. I seriously thought when I got my pricing, when I did a quote on an American version, it cost like a little bit more for small orders, or than a small order from a Chinese company, and I was like, oh, this isn't that bad. Like, that's per board, dude. Like, let's do the checkout, and you know, $1,700. Like, oh. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. It's not right. Which means it never was right. Which is a lot harder to integrate, to grok, to apply retroactively to my other decision-making processes. Excuse me. Oh, more bad news. The excuse me, bubbly water. The High Let Go ESP32 Wi-Fi Bluetooth LoRa controller board thingy with the OLED built on does not support USB over wire natively. So in order to plug in the board, and again, this mainly, I think this only really affects me. I think most people just want a straight Bluetooth board. But the board doesn't support USB. As opposed to the Adafruit, what is it? The Atmel 32U4 Feather Blue Fruit, which has Bluetooth, no Wi-Fi, but handles the USB better, or can handle the USB. So I normally wire in, like I plug in, and that's, I guess it's not technically necessary. I also don't know about the Bluetooth host switching, if that's easy or doable, or if you have to disconnect. Like a lot of these Bluetooth devices, they set them up to be a little bit one-sided, so you're not just like flipping a switch and then flipping hosts. You have to disconnect from the host device, and then it goes back to like a scanning mode, and then you pick it up on the other device. So my objective of typing on the computer over the wire, and then getting a text message on my phone, and then clicking on it, and then flipping to Bluetooth, and then typing on my phone, and then flipping back to the computer, is a little bit more little bit harder. Obviously, nothing prevents me from getting a little USB dongle on my computer, or Bluetooth USB dongle on the computer. But at least now I understand why a lot of those guys made firmwares that integrated with like the Logitech unifying receivers and stuff like that. Having it as a separate unit like that just is cleaner. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to play with that that high let go still. You know, I'll make it with. Sinuses are still trailing on. Allergies, I mean. I'll make it so that it's... I mean, I have to play around with this stuff. I want to be able to... Oh, I had a brainstorm thinking about the... like, since the high let go has Wi-Fi on it, you can make it run a web server. It only accepts one client, but still. You know, it's a web server. It can also be an access point for some reason. I guess for your web server. Oh man, that's ridiculous. But I'm like, so it's a web server, so you turn on the web server. My keyboard has a web server, and I turn it on, and what information could I possibly want to get off of the keyboard? I'm like, oh, well, the mapping. You can have it so that the mapping comes through, and then you can view the mapping that you have programmed on the keyboard. But I'm like, all right. So I take my keyboard, I set it in front of my desk, I Bluetooth connect to the computer. Then I flip the input, I type into the keyboard how it should connect to the Wi-Fi. It connects to the same Wi-Fi as the computer. Then on the computer, I open up a browser, and I browse through the Wi-Fi to my keyboard and get on the web server so that I can look at what the the layout is. It's so ridiculous. I love it. But originally I was thinking like the LoRa chat. Like if you do the LoRa chat, it would be on the keyboard and on that little display. But if it did have a web server, and if it was running LoRa, then you could like expand that. That could be like the FAT client by logging into it via web browser. So then you connect to your keyboard, you set your keyboard in front of the computer, you Bluetooth your keyboard to the computer, you flip your input, so you connect your keyboard to the Wi-Fi. So your Wi-Fi is connected via Bluetooth to the computer. Your keyboard's connected via Bluetooth to the computer and to the Wi-Fi. Then on your computer, you connect to the web server via Wi-Fi on your keyboard, and then you type through the Bluetooth into the browser, through the Wi-Fi, back to the keyboard, nothing but net. And you would have your LoRa chat through the web browser. Oh, I love it. It's so ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous technically. Practically, it makes sense. You're like, you would have this LoRa chat on your keyboard on that little tiny OLED display. So, cue to my fountain pen there. On the OLED display. And it would be tiny, and you're like, oh, it would be nicer if this were bigger. So, like, you're using... it's so ridiculous. I love it. I love it. So yeah, all this ridiculousness is going on. Also, since the Arduino Feather uses, or the Adafruit Feather accepts Arduino code, like whatever I code on this high let go, almost anything that I code, yeah, will be transferable. So it's not like I'm wasting effort here. So yeah, that's what's going on.